and perilous chapter.
The arms control regime has been whittled away.
The salience of nuclear weapons is going up.
What happens when the world's last major nuclear treaty expires and no one is ready with a replacement? In February 2026, the final barrier restraining US and Russian long-range nuclear weapons disappears. The Cold War is history, but its shadow has never truly gone. Russia may have lost its empire, yet it remains a central rival to the United States, and a new era of strategic competition is accelerating. Talks on a replacement for the START treaty have gone nowhere, and a deal will not be ready in time. START limits each country to 1,550 deployed long-range warheads and 700 launchers, but both nations still possess over 5,000 warheads when tactical weapons are counted. And then came the spark.
President Trump is now talking about the U.S. resuming nuclear weapons testing to match Russia and China.
We have more nuclear weapons than anybody. We don't do testing. We've halted it many years ago. But with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also.
Donald Trump's November 2025 call to resume U.S. nuclear testing, a signal that the gloves may be coming off. China's rapid nuclear expansion is adding fuel to the fire. With 600 warheads today and on track to exceed 1,000 by 2030, Beijing's rise is transforming global nuclear politics. From 2026 onward, middle powers may face a brutal calculation: go nuclear or be left behind. The world could be entering the most dangerous arms race since the dawn of the atomic age. For the first time in decades, a superpower is openly questioning whether running an empire is worth the bill.
And President Trump laying out his national security goals in a new memo that puts new focus on the Western Hemisphere.
Focused on America and America first. You start with your own hemisphere where we live.
America first should mean America first and only Americans first.
When Donald Trump returned to the White House in 2025, he laid out a blunt principle: if America doesn't profit, America doesn't act. His transactional foreign policy secured minerals and access agreements across the world, but it's a fragile foundation for long-term supremacy. Meanwhile, U.S. debt is exploding, and a powerful movement calling for withdrawal from global commitments is gaining momentum. The divide between America's elite and its public is widening with every foreign intervention. After Iraq, Afghanistan, sanctions on ICC judges, and repeated violations of international norms, U.S. soft power has eroded to its lowest point in decades. Across the world, America is increasingly viewed not as stabilizer, but as disruptor. Inside the U.S., many citizens feel the empire delivers nothing for them. 2026 begs the question: has the American empire reached the point where its costs finally outweigh its power? Europe heads into 2026 with one terrifying question: how do you prepare for war when you can barely afford peace?
Europe is waking up to a new need to defend itself since Russia invaded Ukraine. But the NATO alliance is not ready, some military experts say.
If Russia were to go to war with Europe, could Europe defend itself?
The continent faces a perfect storm: rising defense spending, dependence on U.S. protection, stagnant economies, and a creeping sense that conflict with Russia may no longer be unthinkable. The problem is brutal. Europe cannot achieve all these goals at once. Most EU states lack the budgets, industry, or political support to make it happen. NATO's Mark Rutte has even floated deep cuts to welfare, education, and healthcare to pay for rearmament, a move almost guaranteed to ignite public fury in a region already battered by years of austerity. At the same time, European states are quietly reintroducing military conscription, repackaged as national service. France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany are preparing their versions, but no one has explained how any of this will actually be funded. Meanwhile, Eurosceptic parties are rising across the continent. Since one member left the Union in 2021, the question haunting Brussels is whether the EU is losing its authority and its purpose. 2026 forces Europe to confront a stark choice. Are its leaders willing to make the sacrifices required, and will their people even let them? For Beijing, Taiwan is unfinished business, and 2026 may be the year China runs out of patience. Reunification has been a core mission of the Chinese Communist Party since 1949. To the CCP, Taiwan is the final obstacle to proving it is the sole legitimate ruler of all China. But Taiwan today is the Israel of the Far East, a fortified outpost for U.S. influence, heavily armed and strategically essential. China has tried pressure, diplomacy, coercion. None of it has worked. Taiwan's population is now more anti-Beijing than ever. That leaves one option: force. And it is the riskiest path China could take in the modern era. An invasion would require crossing the Taiwan Strait, landing on an island of 24 million people, and preparing for likely confrontation with the United States. If China acts in 2026, it will have one shot: one, to reshape Asia's future. Failure would be catastrophic. If China succeeds, this will mark her arrival as a true global great power and signal a new epoch in the 21st century. By mid-2026, the Ukraine war will have lasted longer than World War I, and there is still no end in sight. A war expected to last weeks has become a grinding struggle of trenches, drones, and artillery. Ukraine is exhausted. It relies entirely on Western support, which the US has signaled it is winding down. Europe promises to step up, but lacks the capacity to deliver. Ukraine is bleeding manpower and struggling to hold its positions. Russia, by contrast, is mobilizing reinforcements and sustaining its war machine. Across Europe, the fear is growing. The war may not stay contained. Cyber attacks are escalating. Russian drones are crossing into NATO airspace. Baltic states are rehearsing mass evacuations. The question that hangs over 2026: can Russia deliver a decisive blow, or will the war drag Europe into something far bigger? When a government warns it may need to evacuate its capital city because it cannot provide water, the crisis has already begun. In November 2025, Iran's president issued a chilling statement about Tehran's water shortage. It exposed a truth long known inside the country: Iran is running out of time. 8 years of worsening drought, economic collapse, sanctions, war fatigue, and an imploding energy sector have pushed the regime to the brink.
Decades of poor management, lack of foresight, building more dams, digging deeper wells, transferring water from one basin to another, thinking that by increasing supply you can address the water availability and water shortage issue, not thinking that you also need to cap water consumption.
Protests now erupt regularly across major cities. The clerical establishment, in power for over 4 decades, faces a population that has lost trust entirely. Regionally, Iran is under pressure too, at war with Israel, watching its proxies falter, and struggling to hold its influence. Domestic failure is now merging with regional overreach, and the regime may not survive both at once. 2026 will likely be crunchier for the clerical regime.